Howdy, Full Metal Cowboy, straight shooting a review of the anime Ergo Proxy. I have reached the milestone of 42 anime reviews, and I've decided to dedicate my 42nd anime review to Ergo Proxy. The studio behind Ergo Proxy is the now defunct Manglobe. Ergo Proxy aired in 2006, and could very well be the best Manglobe production ever made. Out of all the anime series that Manglobe has produced, Ergo Proxy has stood out as the one that has been the most interesting to discuss as well as ponder about. And what is Ergo Proxy about, you may ask? Well, I'll give you a basic premise. The world has become mostly uninhabitable, and what remains of humanity exists inside large dome-like cities. Androids, known as autorapes, begin committing crimes and show signs of free will. Riel Mayer begins investigating the cause of these crimes, and this takes her on a journey. While Ergo Proxy is perhaps the most fascinating title Manglobe has ever put out over the years, the animation for the most part does look pretty good for a television anime production, despite that there are some obvious shortcuts and some hiccups along the way, but they're not enough to ruin the overall presentation of Ergo Proxy. And there are certain bits throughout the 23 episode run that really do stand out. Now there is some 3D animation used in Ergo Proxy, but only used sparingly. And that's a huge sigh of relief because I know there's that studio Gonzo who are notorious for their shitty 3D animation in most of their titles. So it's nice that Ergo Proxy has 3D animation, but only used sparingly. But by far the best animation you will see out of Ergo Proxy is the opening, which looks amazing. And the song that comes with it is great too. And there's really nothing much to see with the closing of Ergo Proxy, and you know what? I'm not even complaining about that because closing themes tend to mellow out an episode of a show, so that's perfectly fine by me. Now back to the opening theme of Ergo Proxy. Truth be told, the opening to Ergo Proxy is one of my favorite anime openings of all time. I love the song, and the animation is incredible. I never get tired of it. Now, as for the closing theme of Ergo Proxy, do I even need to talk about this? I've gone on record in saying that the closing theme of Ergo Proxy led me to this alternative rock band, which led me to listen to their discography. I did review their discography. I'm wearing this t-shirt as a connection to the closing theme, for crying out loud. So do I really need to talk about this? Do I really need to tell you who does the closing theme and what song it is? Well, since it's part of the series, I might as well talk about this. I'm going to make this brief. Ergo Proxy's closing theme is Paranoid Android by Radiohead. To give you a little rundown, Radiohead is a British alternative rock band that's been around since the 90s and are still active as I am recording this review. As to what I think of the use of Paranoid Android, I think it's a nice touch for Ergo Proxy, and I think the song kicks ass. I've already reviewed Radiohead's entire discography, and I am done talking about the closing theme of Ergo Proxy, so get off my ass. I told you this was going to be brief. Now, as for Yoshihiro Ike's soundtrack to Ergo Proxy, I like how it sounds dark and desolate, much like how Ergo Proxy's dystopian setting appears to be. And I like how effective the soundtrack is with Ergo Proxy. And I also cannot get enough of that chanting that you will often hear at times in Ergo Proxy. Now, while I'm still on the subject of music, I guess I could ask the question that I'm sure I'm not the only one asking, but is it just me, or does Riel Mayer look like Amy Lee of Evanescence? The voice acting for both the original Japanese cast and the English dub are fine on their own, and the English dub definitely had some stand-up performances like Liam O'Brien as Vincent Law, as well as Damian Clark, who I think stole the show in the English dub of Ergo Proxy. And the man responsible for the ADR direction for the English dub was, of course, Jonathan Klein, who was responsible for the dub of the original Hellsing, that I recall, as well as Paranoia Agent, which were fantastic dubs. Even if the original Hellsing anime was mediocre in presentation, the English dub was superb! And that's Jonathan Klein to you. He knows how to make a damn good English dub, and Ergo Proxy is no exception, as well as the others. The one thing about Ergo Proxy I always found interesting were the characters, especially how they start off and how they go forward. The problem with the characters is that once we get to the ending, the payoff to a lot of these characters don't seem to be satisfying. Now, I still find them interesting along the way, but this also can hurt on the rewatch value. Now, some characters do have interesting directions, and I am satisfied with how some characters ended off, but there are other characters that I wish had better payoffs than what we got. Now, the character arcs I was satisfied with at the end were usually towards Riel and Vincent. I'm talking supporting characters in Ergo Proxy is what I was disappointed with in terms of payoff. Now, while Ergo Proxy does do a good job at keeping the characters interesting, I should give you a fair warning about Ergo Proxy if you have never seen it yet. Ergo Proxy can be a slow burn. I implore you, at the very least, to at least watch one episode a day. This is not a series you can binge. I tried watching at least 4 to 5 episodes at a time, and that was not the best way to enjoy it. So I took my time after the initial episodes. Now, as slow as it is, I do want to give you another fair warning. There is one episode midway that comes out of the blue, and it makes little fucking sense. And I'm willing to spoil this one episode. There is a game show episode that comes the fuck out of nowhere. And I have no clue what the point of it was. And I hated this episode for that. By the way, I have a fun fact. Did you know that Shuko Murase, the director of Ergo Proxy, was the character designer for Final Fantasy IX? Yes, I'm serious. At the end of the day, Ergo Proxy is still a fascinating series. Not everything pays off well, but it still remains an intriguing series for the most part. And I would say 2/3 of Ergo Proxy is worth the watch. It's just that last third is going to vary your mileage. And perhaps rewatching it might be necessary to pick up on certain things you didn't pick up before. But experiencing that last third might end up being disappointing again. But you know what? Ergo Proxy still remains a pretty good series, for the most part. I'm going to be shooting an 8 out of 10 for Ergo Proxy. I'll be reloading for my next review, so until then, see you later.
Escafrón.